Get ready for the dictation. 5 seconds to go. Start. Mr. Chairman, sir, I would like to mention that our NDA government has given top priority for the construction of roads in rural areas, supply of power, drinking water, and ensuring availability of internet facilities through optical fiber. Our Honorable Prime Minister believes that doctors, engineers, and officers would prefer to stay in villages if the rural areas are provided with better infrastructure. So, it is very much essential to ensure the development of rural areas by speedy implementation of the welfare programs to develop the villages. In the last 5 years of NDA regime, the government has focused on the development of all the rural areas. Our Honorable Prime Minister has made a firm commitment to successful implementation of Ujjwala Yojana, which has significantly changed the life of rural women of the country. About 7 crore people were benefited under the scheme. The Honorable Finance Minister in her budget mentioned that the government is committed to provide basic facilities such as power, safe drinking water, roads, cooking gas, information technology, etc. by the year 2022 to all the rural areas of the country. The year 2022 is very significant as our country is going to complete its 75th anniversary of independence in that year. So, it is the intention of our Honorable Prime Minister that at the time of celebrating 75th anniversary of independence, no household should be deprived of cooking gas and power supply. I would like to mention that the Union budget has taken care of all the aspects of development of rural India. I would like to point out that Gram Sadak Yojana is playing a vital role in changing the socio-economic scenario of rural India. During the last 3 years, an average of 130 to 135 kilometer roads is constructed under the scheme. About 30,000 kilometer roads are constructed under the scheme. The union budget of this year proposes to introduce phase 3 of this scheme. I congratulate our Honorable Prime Minister, Honorable Finance Minister, and Rural Development Minister for taking such a good decision with regard to rural India. My Lok Sabha constituency has 8 assembly constituency. I would like to request that there is a need for effective implementation of Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana. In the last 4 years, no funds was allocated to my constituency under the scheme. I would like to mention that in the year 2016-17, I request the Union Government for construction of 354 kilometer rural roads under phase 2 of Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana. However, the said proposal was not approved. Now the Union Government has announced to introduce phase 3 of the said scheme. So I would like to request the union government through you to consider my request under phase 3. My parliamentary constituency has been facing severe drought for the last 2 years. There is acute shortage of drinking water. There is no water in the lakes and ponds. The groundwater level is depleted and it is not available even at the depth of 1000 feet. In some areas, water is available but it has very high fluoride content and it is unfit to consume as it leads to various diseases. In this connection, I would like to point out that the UPA government during its regime identified the villages having water with high fluoride content to supply safe drinking water under the multi-village drinking water scheme. Even though the scheme was introduced in the year 2010-11, it has not been implemented till date due to carelessness on the part of the state government and its officials, and people are not getting safe drinking water. The government sanctioned a lot of drinking water projects, but they are not implemented due to negligence on the part of the government and its officers. I would like to mention that water scarcity is quite high in my parliamentary constituency. Drinking water is being supplied using tankers to people in the villages. In view of this, it is the duty of the state government to implement the drinking water projects at the earliest. Therefore, I would like to request the union government to intervene in this matter and take necessary steps to implement the long pending multi village drinking water projects at the earliest. Food for Work program was originally started in April 1977 as a non-plan scheme to augment the fund of the state governments for the maintenance of the public works on which large investment had been made in the past. The program did not make much headway in the beginning due to certain constraints inherent in the scheme itself. Later on, towards the end of 1977, on review of the working of the scheme and the difficulties experienced by the state governments, the scheme was liberalized to include all ongoing plan and non-plan works. The scheme has a very wide scope it and is not restricted to any particular item of major work. Stop.